Hey guys, this is TheEnder, and I am back, and I am bringing you the final match from this round of 8. Final game from the match? Final match from the game. No. This is the final map of the match. And this is Free versus Mind. Except for game number 4, we've seen pretty much dominating play from Mind. And some cheesy, some standard, but more or less, I'd say unsatisfying play from Free. I mean, he's taken some games, but I mean, I'd say it's more due to Mind's failures than Free's, genius, excellence, or solid play. So here we are, the deciding match. So this is going to be on one of my favorite maps, and I haven't seen many games on it in a while, so this is going to be great. This is the map Outsider. So for those of you that have not seen Outsider, it's a funny map. It's just so weird. Okay, so it's a 3-player map. So if you were to make a triangle on the mini-map, using the red, the yellow, and the 9 o'clock, those are where the main bases are. And they have natural bases, which, the natural expands look pretty standard. But then here's where the weirdness comes. So you've got, like, in-base, mineral-only, 3rd and 4th bases. However, if you build a base on the other side of the minerals, because the minerals make like a wall, if you build your base on the other side of the minerals, instead of being just a mineral-only, it's a mineral base plus the gas. Or, you can also take a double gas, no minerals. It's just such a weird one. All the expansions are in this, most of the expansions are in this ring around the outside of the map. And so because of that, it really favors a lot of creative drop play and positioning. In addition to that, there's a high ground area, a small high ground area, drop only, right outside the natural, which is really annoying to put, tanks on or goons on. And then, of course, the greater thing is, since all these perimeter bases, they're walled with minerals, so as you get into the later stages of the game, and the minerals mine out, they're no longer walled. So it's just like all around. Not only does it encourage like crazy drop play, it also like makes it so that the late game is purposely going to be more aggressive than the early game. I don't know if aggressive is the right way. You've got more ability to move, so you can do all kinds of crazy counterattacks and harassment. It's just all around a pretty great map. I mean, of course, Zerg is probably, I want to say they benefit most from it since they like to expand everywhere in the first place. But that's one reason why Zerg like it, because they're used to taking funny expansions, and walls can help them keep their enemies out. They can control the air probably a bit more easily than most of the other races. Terran, of course, like it because their command centers can be floated. So you build the command center as close to possible as a mineral wall, you float it on the other side, and whereas your Protoss is only able to take it as a mineral only, you can take it as a mineral plus gas base. So it's just all around a pretty cool map. It gives different bonuses to different races, and it just all around is pretty cool. Alright, so what's happening in the game? Mind has gone for a factory prior to expansion. It's a slightly funny position for the factory, but I don't think there's anything wrong with it putting it there. Of course, since I said there's those funny back bases where a command center can be floated over and you can take a full base plus gas, and it can't be reached unless you use a dropship. This is actually a pretty decent fake out for Mind. Free might think he's actually facing an expand build. But the other funny thing is you don't see this very often, where the Terran walls it on the high ground, and the Protoss just shells away on the supply depots for a while. This is actually what used to be a pretty standard thing for Terran to do. But, oh man, he's lost 2 Marines already. The last one has 1 hit left. He has expanded to the back. Alright, finally that tank's out. I go, he could snipe that goon. Somehow the goon lives. Alright, but he's going to push it away. And of course, you know, even if you could get 2 goons on the high ground, you know, the tank has the range advantage even without siege, so you know, the goons are at rather disadvantage. And once again, because of the crazy drop harassability, we're seeing a pretty fast starport from Mind. I don't know if he's going for a Wraith or for actually a dropship of his own. I would not be surprised if he went for both. Probably he'd get the dropship first and then the Wraith, and he'll just do like a quick Vulture drop. And of course, you know, Vulture's a good unit to drop because, you know, it does high damage to probes, so it's good for harassment, but at the same time it's really cheap, so, you know, your army is usually decently fine if it doesn't have it with it, and if you lose the vultures. Yes, alright, control tower first, that definitely suggests he's going for the dropship. So, on the other side, we already saw the not the shuttle, we saw the robo, and with the robo he'll probably see some shuttles, probably see shuttle speed eventually. And so that's interesting. So even though the command center can be floated and you can use that to, you know, take the gas instead of just minerals, Mine has opted to take mineral only right now. Several reasons. One, because it'll be easier to defend and to evacuate should he need, with the command center being on this side. Another reason is that if he floated it over, he'd have to make all the SCVs from that command center, so it'd be a really long time. There'd be no mineral transfer, or not mineral, no SCV transfer. So, both of those decent reasons. Now, this is sorta odd. You don't want to leave tanks so exposed like that and push out with them by themselves. But maybe... Okay, this could be a really cool attack. So, vultures go in, they harass the probes at the main, and what's the immediate thought? Alright, you pull back the goons to fight the zealots, and then in the meantime, maybe the dropship goes and picks up the tanks and puts them on the high ground? That would be pretty cool. But no, he's just leaving the tanks out in the middle of the map. It's a weird decision. So 2 vultures, and they got a pretty decent number of probe kills. But, why are there tanks in the middle of the map? That's just so dangerous. Naked tanks like that will die to anything. I mean, they can even lose to goons. Alright, so this is gonna be annoying. Getting 2 more vultures on the other side of the minerals. They'll be able to prevent mining, but the goons won't be able to hit them unless they get dropped on the other side, in which case they'll be trapped. I need to come up with like a shorthand way of saying, harassment in a, harassment 12 o'clock. I think I need a different shorthand. Alright, so already 2 probes go down, which is 100 minerals, plus the mining that they're not allowed to do. Vultures only cost 75 minerals each, so it's already paid for itself as long as the dropship escapes. I mean, that's how easy it is to harass this Terran. And third probe. So, not just harassment successful, those vultures have already paid themselves off. Second barracks for mine. What is... I don't want to insult him, but I do not understand what Mind is doing. I mean, he's got a barracks, but he decided he wants to make another one. Okay. Why make it in the wall? I mean, of all places. I mean, leave the completed one in the wall and make your second one somewhere else. Oh, that mine could be... Oh. Of course, it's always funny to plant mines near your opponent's probes, just because you're already going to be harassing and you know that the army's going to be coming in, and once that army comes in, if you can hit a mine on the probes, oh man, that's so much damage. But alright. So Mind has possibly 2 barracks now. He's got a cannon which will outrange the vultures. And the dropship goes down. Ooh. But that being said, I mean, we've seen those vultures drops do so much damage, so I'm pretty sure it's paid for itself. Not worried about that. So we do have a shuttle out for free. We'll see what he can do on the other side. You know, another funny thing is mine doesn't have many mines on the map, so his map vision is really, really lacking. Both players are on 3 base, so, I mean, that should be a slight advantage for mine. I would not be surprised to see a second shuttle. Was that shuttle picking up a probe? Dropship picking up 2 tanks. Science facility on the way. Yeah, so it looks like that shuttle wants to drop a probe past the mineral wall, and then he's probably going to take a base that's, you know, the mineral and gas in the complete upper right position. He may take double gas, but I mean, based on Free's playstyle in Game 3, I really don't think that he would do that. I mean, he wasn't really benefiting that much from it. So he also drops 3 zealots to guard it. That's not a bad idea. But even before he gets his guys there, Mind is already going to start attacking. And he's actually going to try to do a pretty decent push against that base that's at the 11 o'clock position. Luckily, Free happens to have an observer there. But he's going to have to ferry a whole lot more units to win that battle, and he's doing it. This is a funny little fight. You know, so little reinforcements. You know, it's like, you know, 2 or 3 shiploads of units. Nice pick off on the mines, but there's just not enough. Just not enough units. Oh, for a second I was like, are we seeing the funny little... So you can do some cool little micro tricks. Because the Dragoon attack, it takes it like half a second to reach the tank. You can pick up the tank in the shuttle, or dropship in this case, and it won't actually get hit with the goon charge. The tank won't, and neither will the shuttle. What happened? Was there a mine there? Somehow or another, we got 2 dead Dragoons, just like... Huh. Hey, we got storms before we got Templar snipes, though. That's some improvement. Alright, so there's no supporting units, so Mind is still going to retreat with the tanks. He doesn't want to lose the tanks in the dropship. I mean, of course, that's a pretty big investment already. It's 300 gas and 400 minerals. Okay, or maybe he was just waiting for his reinforcements. So you have some reinforcing vultures, and the dropship is gonna ferry them over. This is just so hilarious in that, you know, the average player would not have anywhere near the APM to do this. To, you know, be macroing off 3 bases, you know, scouting properly, scanning, and using a single dropship to ferry units just for a little bit of harassment. That being said, Free is doing his best to ferry enough units to, you know, to match the forces, but it's just not enough. I mean, you can bring in 4 vultures at once, but you can only bring in 2 dragoons. So it's always beautiful mind drag by that one single zealot. Alright, so with that mine bomb that took out like 3 vultures, it looks like the attack is going to be cleaned up. And is that... There's some kind of red. Okay, so that vulture looks like it ran in there and it hasn't died yet, so I'm guessing that's just a nexus. Okay, so Free has chosen to take his 4th base as the other spawn location, which of course is, you know, it's a decent spot. But it's so weird considering there's, you know, another base farther away from the Terran that's completely untaken. That's a lot of zealots. So is Mind using this opportunity to push? Oh, where's the observer? Oh, this is madness. There's probes transferring across the map. There's Dragoons running into mines because there's no observers. And in the meantime, Mind is just going to push. And he's going to get pretty far before the Protoss army can do anything about it. However, the Vultures are... Oh, man, that's a big loss losing that shuttle. I was going to say the Vultures might have taken a bit of damage from those goons, which Mind really doesn't want to happen, since we saw back at the Natural, there's like 2 or 3 control groups of Zealots. So you really want to have all your Vultures, you know, in force so they can take out. Those Vultures... Do the Zealots have speed? They don't appear to be going too fast. So as you can see, they are doing the proper thing in trying to just run through the tanks rather than attacking them. Or at least they were. And you do that so that once again, you know, the back tanks will splash, you know, the tanks will splash each other. Very nice storm, kills 2 tanks with it. Okay, it looks like he does have speed, but I don't know if he had the speed for... Does he have speed? They just look like... Alright, I'm going crazy. Ugh! The observer didn't even see it, but somehow or another Mind did, so he's making Goliaths. Unfortunately, the carriers had to reveal themselves super soon. But there's no Goliaths, so we got like 4 interceptors, but no anti-air. That's weird. Why couldn't he have done this in Game 3 when he actually had, you know, 4 to 6 bases mining? You gotta recall, or not recall, you gotta retreat the carriers. So one of the most important things to do with carriers is you have to micro them back so that the main carrier doesn't actually take damage. It's fine if you lose some interceptors, since the interceptors only cost 25 minerals, but you cannot let the carrier take that much damage. The Goliaths just do too much damage. And carriers take forever, and I mean forever, to build. Alright, so if I was going to bet right now, I'd say Mind has this game pretty handily. I mean, this push may not, like, completely kill him, but it's definitely going to take out this Nexus. At which point, I mean, you can see it looks like the 12 or 11. Looks like the 11 o'clock base is pretty much mined out, and there's a base of the 9, but I don't see any probes. So Free is almost not mining, and when he loses this Nexus, he's going to be almost not mining even less. Is that right? Almost not mining even less. And I mean, 4 carriers, that's just not enough. I mean, yeah. He's got like 3 probes at 9 o'clock mining. He's got 10 idle probes at 11 o'clock. His main might have a few patches still mining. It looks like there's some teal dots. But yeah, mine is just like... His main is mining, his natural is mining. He's got a base at the 4 o'clock and another base at the 7 o'clock. Oh, I forgot about that base. So yeah, so Free had these bases that were... I mean, they were bases, but Terran just walked through them, and so 2 instant lost bases. Carriers might actually defend the 9 o'clock for a little bit, but the Goliath numbers are just climbing incredibly rapidly. Yeah, I really don't see Free having much of a shot. Mine did a really good job scanning and catching this base coming up. Not the base, the carriers. So we've got a bunch of Zealots, and there's a minefield in between the army and where they need to go. So Free is trying to snipe the tanks, because if he does, and it looks like he's able to, those cannons on the high ground will do decently versus the Goliaths for a little while with the carrier support, because of that ramp. I mean, ramps are just super useful as strategic positions in StarCraft due to the mischance and you know, the funneling potential. But alright, yeah, 9 o'clock base has to be abandoned now. There's no way that he's going to win. He's just going to lose interceptors, lose carriers, and the Goliaths are even being microed. So Goliath Micro, when fighting any air unit, I mean, it differs depending on the air unit. It looks like a carrier already went down. Oh, and another one's going to go down. But yes, so when you're going against battle cruisers with your Goliaths, usually you micro them backwards, since Goliaths outrange battle cruisers. And by that I mean you fire one shot and then you run for, like, you know, a few seconds, and then not a few seconds, a few fractions of a second, and then you fire again with the Goliath, and then you run, and then you fire and you run. And since, you know, the Goliaths outrange them, you know, you can actually avoid all damage on your Goliaths and just completely take out the carrier, the battle cruiser. But carriers, you want to do it go running forward, because carriers have really long range once they launch the interceptors. But alright, so that's game. Mind wins. Free loses. Free is eliminated. Mind moves on to the semifinals. Quarterfinals, semifinals. Round of 4. And in the round of 4, I don't know who he will face. But, okay, so no, I won't spoil it. Go watch the other series if you haven't seen it. I won't mention here who wins. But, it's a good series. A bit better than this one. But yeah. So, alright, so we have seen 2 groups, or 2 round of 8 finishes. And, we'll see those 2 players in the round of 4. And I mentioned in the last set of videos I wasn't planning on casting the TBT, which is Sock versus Piano, and so I still got one more best of 5 round of 8 left, and that's Movie and Hero, and I will do them, we'll say sometime in the near future, and I think that'll be a good one, PVZ, and I will see you then. So this is TheEnder signing off.